Hello and welcome to the AAOL Season 5, I believe, or Season 4, can't remember, sorry. Match. Today we have a very wonderful match of Pride versus Omnic Esports. Joining me, my name is Blackburn for all of you who do not know. I played in the previous AOL tournament and won in the Division 3 slot. And today I am joined by a Overwatch League Open Division caster named Benny. Benny, please introduce yourself.
Hello, everybody. My name is Bemi. Like my new friend said, I have casted the Overwatch Open Division. You may have also heard me from the Overguard during their Overwatch days as well. And you either may have also heard me from the official South African Community Cup. And I am just a big lover of esports, Blizzard esports specifically, and Overwatch is a fantastic game. So I'm excited to cast it with some new friends. Are you excited?
Yes, I'm very, very excited. I think coming into today's matches, we're gonna see some teams may have just adapted some strategies from the World Cup that just happened this afternoon. Maybe a bit short on time to actually understand and fully utilize the strategies, but it will not be too surprising if teams follow mirror comps and at least get the basics out. Coming into this, we will now start off on Well being one of my most favorite maps, especially on Helios. I'm hoping to see Roadhog, especially with Roadhog's buff coming very soon. Roadhog will might be a lot more viable. So maybe we'll see some Orisa Hog on the side of Omnic. As you can see, they are trying to go for that. And on the side of Pride, they are going for the basic tried and true Goats composition. Goats composition, even on Ilios, well, still fairly powerful if used correctly. Baby, what do you think about these two matchups right now in terms of composition?
Out the gate right now, I do see the Goats being a little bit inspired, like you said, by the World Cup. We saw Brigitte coming out a little bit more due to the stun ability that they have with the shield bash for the flanking DPSs, but look like the flanking's coming in from Pride altogether. They're going to go down one by one. Wookie on the McCree is a very solid idea as it's able to account for multiple things. The flashbang, so strong. There is a hook coming in right here. Not the well, though, just to get them close enough to DMAC. It's a little bit back and forth, but it looks like it is going to be very much in favor for the side of Omnic as they're already working on building up that point. Well, ooh, hello. We do have a couple of kills coming in for the side of Pride, but it looks like this pharmacy is going to be strong enough for them to get the point almost, but not quite.
Early pick on the Ana on the side of Omnic Esports. They're more or less just sealed the deal for the Goats composition. Ana being one of the most heavy counters to the Goats comp just because of the Bione. Once you don't have that, Goats comp can easily just rush you, especially if you are playing that Roadhog and Orisa combination. Here he comes again, Goats comp rushing into the point. Oh, the Reinhardt did get that, but no, did get woken up. Here's the barrage. It is a huge 3K for the side of Omnic Esports on the back of Parallax's wonderful barrage there. This should be an easy take at the 36% mark.
A noble sacrifice as well, as Peril will just get run into by the D.Va, but I mean, overall, this is very strong, and I think at the moment, while I'm not a big fan of people holding on to Goats afterwards, they are very close to their ultimates. There is the rally that can eat up a lot of damage, and they just drop the barrage, and that's really the only flanking DPS ult that you have to really worry about in general, whatever composition you are. So I want to see mainly how this self-destruct sequence is going to go down. And, oh, that's a hook, but they managed to jet back out of it. But you want to see how they are going to use that zoning ult for practice, whether it's going to be the Earth Shatter or the self-destruct sequence for people who walk into the grab.
Here comes the sound. Here comes sound barrier coming in on the side of the Goats composition. Here comes a bomb. Is it gonna get? That's a huge 2K on the side of Wookie and the Mercy. With both healers now down on the side of it, it's just back and forth, and the cap should come in on the side of Pride at the just over 50%. And as you can see, the Goats composition right now doing pretty well. They do have that Graviton coming up right now, and Sir KJB on the Reinhardt could potentially also use the Earth Shatter in turn for that. But on the side of Omnic Esports, they do have the High Noon and Parallax's barrage. Parallax with that barrage has to go huge this time around again if they want to try and break this composition, try to break through and potentially retake the point. And now let's see how he goes. He's going for the flank right now on the side. Currently alone, but with the Mercy. Despacito going onto the Reinhardt as well. And they are going for the large flank. Here Paradox is just poking right now. Here comes the engagement. There goes the bubble for the side of Mudman. And right now they're just going to have to take the time. Here comes... Oh, here comes a Earth Shatter on the side of Cirque JB getting Wookiee while he was trying to use that high noon. Sorry, McCree, not the time of the day. Here comes a res on the Cirque JB. And it's still very much a brawl on the point right now. Huge fire strike managing to actually kill the Lucio. And it's a 5v6, and here comes the Graviton Surge at 97%. I don't think beside of... Oh no, there is someone being able to touch. Wookiee managed to at least come back, but here comes a huge 2k bomb getting both supports, but Despacito and Parallax show up in turn. Foxtail gets the kill on Parallax. Despacito going huge. Here comes another Earth Shatter. Here's a pin onto the Mercy, and here comes a retake on the side of Omnic Esports just at 99%.
You can take a breath now, my friend, as that was quite the team fight going down. It's still going down either way, but they now managed to flip onto the point. The fight is still alive. They need to be able to just be careful. There was a lot of ultimates that were sort of dropped that weren't allowing people to follow through, and that was just sort of the unfortunate part. Dropping the grab just to stun some people. Did manage to get a double kill onto the self-destruct sequence, but even then, just following up and getting a double kill on the self-destruct sequence, in some cases is not enough, because you need to be able to wipe out that team fight and be able to secure that point. So it was maybe a little of overextension on the side of Pride, but there is still a lot of things to come out of this team. They really need Audium as well to build up that EMP very quickly in order if they want to shut this down efficiently.
Here comes a Graviton coming on the side of Optic. Here comes a charge getting the kill on the Salt and Vinegar. Here comes a huge counter Earth Shadow on by Cirque, taking 3-4 people on the ground. Mudman currently being helped. Here comes the Valkyrie ultimate just to keep everyone topped off, and the point going at 96%. I think it's 5v5 on the point right now. Here comes a charge. Despacito might be in a bit of trouble right now if he's not getting any help. Here comes the actual bubble. Here comes a counter shatter, and it's huge.
Oh!
That should actually seal the deal for Omnic Esports in this match right now. If they can be able to just clear out the Mercy and here comes a... Oh, that's a really big hack right there, but no follow-up. Unfortunately, Salt and Vinegar did manage to take down Despacito, and the Sombra just being able to stall on the point, and there comes the Wrecking Ball right now, just trying to be a nuisance on the point, trying to stay as long as possible. Cirque JB back on the Reinhardt, and Audio manages to actually get the kill on the Wookiee. Currently it's a 5v6 right now, and here comes the Kamehameha out of the Aura right now, keeping everyone topped off and managing to get Parallax, managing to kill Melodicy. Here comes a charge on Cirque JB, misses the hit. He's gonna get taken down subsequently, and it seems that Omnic Esports currently in trouble right now as Pride manages to come back off that play on by Audium on that Sombra, managing to stall the point for the team to come back and retake the point.
Well, Sombra's EMP, whether there's a lot of people there or not, can be done if there was a lot of damage to follow up with. The healers were spaced out, they didn't manage to get everybody, and that was such a great team fight altogether. Super duper close, and I just was very thoroughly impressed. It was just a matter, unfortunately, that there was so much damage from the initial team fight that they won. They didn't heal up quite yet, and they just managed to get a good flanking EMP by a lot of times. 76 was there, good DPS to help follow up with kills on that, and it just sort of fell into place for them. With also the prioritization of switching over to Wrecking Ball, it's a great contesting team if you're able to get into that zone. But now moving over here on Lighthouse, we're not going to see much in difference of change of sort of hero comps, but Foxley on this May is going to be great. Early Ice Wall zones out main tanks and also gives early pins for their Reinhardt as well. So we want to see how they do this, and also of course the Lucio boots as well.
Here comes the Ice Wall coming out now, and Serge JB manages to get the kill onto Wookiee on that Brigade. Without that Brigade, there is no fear of the stun, but on the side, they are in a bit of a kill box. Here comes a charge, but Evan manages to kill Despacito before that happens, and the first cap coming in on the side of Pride.
Already a good follow-up right there. As I said earlier, that Ice Wall was very good, able to prioritize a lot of stuff, and also separate the pharmacy together. Able to get that Mercy is very crucial of the two pharmacies, because you don't want to get that Pharah rezzed at all. You can take out that Pharah as many times as you want, but there's a Mercy to follow up, and it's just going to be dangerous. Now they gotta wait a little bit for their Mercy to just sort of Guardian Angel their way back to the team, and we need to see how this is going to go. A lot of the ult charge has been denied by the side of Pride, and they have quite a bit around the corner. We need to see if Pharah is able to get their barrage and flank it. They do manage to get an early environmental kill onto the 76.
Onto the 76, and just as right, here comes the barrage getting 2-3, again another 3K. Parallax popping off on that Pharah, getting another 3K for the team to help seal the deal and make the cap just at 44%. He basically carried that match, getting 4 kills in total, 1 boop onto the side of onto Salt and Vinegar, and 3 with the barrage. And it seemed, and I would say that they are in pretty good position, considering they only had to use the single Pharah ultimate that can be charged very easily. As you can see, Parallax gets another kill on the Foxy just because there's not enough shields protecting the rest of the team. Here comes a huge Earth Shadow, but missing. Oh, but Sir KJB goes back with a counter Earth Shadow, getting 4 people going for the charge. Get the pin. FS Scott on that Mercy, going Battle Mercy, killing Parallax and putting an end to his reign of terror. And the Mei should be able to kill. Yep, gets the kill onto the Mercy on Fruit, Tingle, and recaps the point at 48%.
Yeah, really solid stuff right there. On top of that, they managed to get the Earth Shatter in retaliation, and I think Foxley's Ice Wall has been such a solid defense because it allows them to buy a little bit of time, and if they stay in the backline, they don't get affected as many ults apart from the flanking ults from Parallax and stuff like that. But due to the fact that they just sort of regrouped and managed to go in all together right away, it allowed them to just not lose much time on the percentage. So now this is very quick and very close back and forth.
Here comes the Graviton Surge. Is it going to get anything? Manages to get the kill on the Despacito, but that's really about it on Sergey Yemi, the only Ryan onto the point. Here comes a Bricky going alone. Here comes a counter. Here comes a counter one by a huge Earth Shadow just coming back on. Parallax going huge again, getting 4K this time with that Pharah Barrage. He might as well just change his name to Valkia. And just on that alone, with the help of a Graviton just to set everybody up, they should be able to cap it. The point just as they reach overtime right now at 35%.
At 35% indeed, they're doing what they can to just go ahead and turn this point back around, and they managed to finally do it. I mean, honestly, the fact that they kind of, it's a little bit worrying that they sort of prioritize the Pharah's ult as making that very, very necessary for them to win, but honestly, they're sort of superstarring the Pharah with along the pharmacy combination, just Melody, allowing the mobility of this team to be able to do so. This 3-2-1 composition can work very solidly, and as long as they don't play over aggressively, they should be pretty much fine. Oh, the Blizzard denied!
Blizzard denied, and Salt Vinegar taken down and had to use the rest. Here comes the Tactical Visor, manages to get Fruit Tingle, stay in the air a bit too long. They are down the Mercy right now, and Pride, yeah, it's a very good chance of trying to push this in. Without the Mercy right now, they don't really have anything to fear, especially on the rest, considering that they have a Valkyrie Mercy by themselves, but they are still just standing outside the point, deciding not to go in, but now decide to push in when the Valkyrie finishes, but Salt and Vinegar manages to take out Parallax. Here comes both Lucios dropping their sound barrier, trying to keep their team alive. Here comes an Earth Shatter, Melody getting taken out right now, and right, should be able to take this out, but Parallax goes for another huge barrage, but this time only managing to get Audium, and Pharah by itself is not going to be able to hold the point just because it's too small. Yep, there goes Parallax getting himself killed. Here's the point at 99%. Despacito manages to get the charge on the Foxtail off that Earth Shatter, but Wookie gets the kill onto FS Scott. It's still pretty much in this. Oh, but Sir KJB going huge, getting 2 kills on the Reinhardt, and there comes the cap. Pride manages to take the win out of get a win out of the bag with Sir KJB just swinging his hammer and getting the 2K just to finish off any of the strikers left on point.
Sir KGB was a very solid initial pick. That very last fight, they managed to get the Lucio, so there was not a lot of healing allowed, as opposed to getting the Mei pin on the side of Omnic. So really, the target prioritization there was very solid from the side of Pride. On top of that, also, I was a little bit concerned. While I do like the Pharah idea, and Parallax was showing some great Pharah play, there's so many responses to the Pharah with this composition. Foxley, very close range, can slow her down and just take her out right away with an icicle. And then the 76, a classic DPS hit scan to be able to respond to the Pharah. And especially with the Pharah now, the update of needing to be a little more precise and accurate, there's no room for error. So there has been a lot of new Pharahs just sort of getting a little more close range and slightly hovering as opposed to trying to go for long range hits. So with that, Lighthouse does make it a little bit difficult for maybe not Pharah mains per se, or just ones that are still developing and adapting to the new adaptation and update of Pharah. So in the long run, maybe a little bit of hero switch might have been called for. What would that have been? That is sort of up in the air because there's a lot of different options with that. But in the long run, good target prioritization from Pride, and also last of that, I would just say is maybe the Pharah could have been switched out a little bit, even though they were getting those effective barrage.
I think all those things you said are generally warranted, but if we just look back at how things generally went on, especially on Lighthouse, you can see that Parallax manages to actually get the early kills through most of the team fights. He always gets the first pick with the help of the Mercy damage boost. It's just the fact that the enemy Mercy just manages to res whoever the targets that was killed, whether it was Foxtail on the Mei or the Salt and Vinegar on that soldier, and subsequently he didn't manage to just get the second kill. I believe that if Omnic Esports may have actually be aggressive or perhaps try to stop the res coming out from the kill that Parallax manages to get early in the fight, they would have a pretty good chance of actually just holding and actually winning that point. But enough about Ilios. Hopefully the switches coming in might see a bit more freedom in terms of what heroes people will play. But let's go into Route 66 now. Route 66, generally a very hard map to complete with a decent time, just because most of the stages are fairly hard for attackers to actually get through, especially when you come to first point. And prevent getting poked out. And just because having the high ground is quite important in a game like Overwatch, it just gives defenders a bit more advantage, and especially spawn advantage, not very great right now.
Spawn advantage is kind of everything as well, but it really depends on also how aggressive they want to go with this counter dive. Because necessarily you want to be very careful about this, as this is just sort of a little bit of concern with big Earls, is that a lot of people like to run this sort of Orisa Diva or just the counter dive in general, which is necessarily a Winston Diva, and then they just sort of go in, not necessarily have a plan of attack. The target prioritization thing is just something I'm a little bit concerned about, and also make sure that they are not relying necessarily on multiple heroes. I know we're talking about Route 66, but just to call back on something on Ilios real quick, is that the fact is that it seemed like Parallax, they were relying on a lot to be sort of a star hero for them, where there was sort of not necessarily that from Pride. They had unique heroes that all had special features that they made sure that each player kind of felt in the spotlight at the moment. And while I'm saying it's not bad to have a star player, it is it is not healthy practice to rely on them. But this is my first map ever seeing of Omnic, so I'm going to hold my breath and just say that in Ilios, this is something that they do. Route 66 is just an escort map, completely different from Ilios. The high ground is a lot more wider of a map. Like you said, the high ground is going to be very crucial. I'm very interested in seeing how the Widow comes into play with this. If they even run Widow, do they go for Hanzo Deathball with the Graph Dragon Strike? There's a lot of questions on my mind about this, which I'm very excited to see come into play. So I think in the long run, what would you want to see more of sort of a anti-dive or a counter dive, or would you like to see just a simple death ball defend big Earls on the defense side of things?
I think generally Death Ball, especially on the defense, is still a bit better compared to anti-dive. I'm assuming that when you speak of anti-dive, you're running Orisa Diva, that sort of composition. But I think Deathball just has the much more fluent nature, considering that Reinhardt is just able to. It's not restricted by the 7-second shield, um, 7-second shield deploy, as compared where you have with Orisa. And generally, I think movement ability, Reinhardt just can engage and get out a bit easier. I consider Charge very much a movement ability rather than actual pin in most cases, just because pin hitbox is a bit weird for the most part. But yeah, I believe that Deathball comps are still the more average and the more tried and true method of defending when it comes to first point on Route 66. But on the side of the attackers, I have seen that Bastion presidential comps with it are still very decent if you can catch the team off by surprise, and hopefully we might see that coming into right now. If you watch the World Cup, some teams also run very weird compositions, and it has bore fruit just because the enemy team are just caught off guard, and it will work.
I like the way you said that. Well, let's just talk about real quick because it is very exciting of the subject, and we have a little bit of time to talk. Did you enjoy watching what you saw in the Overwatch World Cup?
Yeah, I would say just because my friend Zero Aim, who's helping us stream this right now, has yet to watch the full match. I'm just gonna be very basic and a bit oblivious. Yeah, he hasn't watched it yet. Everyone was generally busy, so I'm just gonna be very oblivious or very vague, I would say, in most of my responses.
That's fair. Then I will just say one thing, and then we'll move on from the Overwatch World Cup. Zero, once you watch the first match, which is, I believe, UK versus USA, yep. My goodness, what a series that was. That was so impressive and fun to watch.
Very, very true.
Yeah, it was great. Also, I'm just a USA fan, so what can I say?
I think the Overwatch World Cup just shows that you can't really base teams off just the general back experience or background experience, I would say. Because if you look at teams like China, who made it to top 8, I would say a lot of people underrated them just because Shanghai Dragons 040,
yep.
that whole thing. But I mean, once you watch the match, you can see that this is a completely different team. Shanghai Dragons was not comprised of the best talent that China could offer, and we're seeing now what you could actually do with a proper Chinese roster with the actual best players on it. And just it'll be interesting to see how far China will be able to go in this tournament. Maybe even making top 2 is not too out of the ordinary considering their play, and as you can see the actual comparisons between them.
I'm going to say China wins hands down.
I would say that China has a pretty good chance of making it to top 2. Whether or not they win it is on the backs of whether or not they can shut down the mega powerhouse of Korea. Korea, no offense, well, that's got a easy, I would say, considering all the other teams, a bit of an easier matchup, so they didn't have to really show too much of any secret strats.
Kusta's strong.
Kusta's strong, yeah.
Yeah, but I was saying also in the long run that looking back at the Chinese, when I was doing some VOD librarying stuff, was noticing that there was just such a good amount of stuff, like doing VOD librarian for the China contenders. Excuse me. There we go. I noticed that LGD was such a strong team. My gosh, it really is fascinating. I'm very excited to see that Overwatch League has bought into 3 more cities for China, which is going to be very awesome because now that there's going to be potentially a lot of that Chinese pool being able to work together. And I think in the long run, this is going to be a very exciting experience for just Overwatch esports in general. You know, there's so much to explore, and there's just so much to see yet that season 2 is just not going to be enough yet to establish quite a soon to be long history of Overwatch. But moving on from China and into Oceania, as we're about to get back into our next game into Route 66, my friend.
Very, very true. I think I'm just gonna leave it off the World Cup to the intermission. Maybe we'll come back to that. The only thing I will say is the friend for MVP Atlanta. Let's hope he pops off and shows the world that he can still play at the highest level. But coming back to Route 66, will be interesting to see how teams will choose their heroes right now. I believe we have a pause coming up. We may have a miscommunication on the actual map to be played upon.
Right type, wrong place. It seems to be predetermined between 2 escort maps, but that's okay. Escort wise, let's just talk about this real quick. Escort, who would you say at the moment would work best for this? I feel like Omnix, due to their aggressive style of play, may be able to come through with this.
I would say yes. I would say it just really depends on what composition they're going for.
That's always true as well.
Generally the composition will generally detail how fast, how aggressive, how defensive teams generally run it. And if you can see on the side of Pride right now, they are going with Salt and Vinegar on that Pharah. I'm guessing they are trying to they are guessing that the enemy team of Omnic Esports might be running a sort of a GOATS composition, just because GOATS is tried and true on most maps, especially even on Route 66, still very decent. So I'm guessing that's why they chose Salt and Vinegar to play the actual Pharah, and we have Audium on the Hanzo. But on the side of the Omnic Esports, you can see that they are going for a Hanzo and a Sombra. Sombra generally very, very strong on first point Route 66, as long as she can control the 2 health packs, especially the one under Big Earls, to prevent the defenders of just trying to get that free 250, 200 health HP. And now we can see the Sombra going on the flank right now, just trying to scout out of the team composition on the side of the Pride, and most likely we'll see her try to get a bit cheeky and try to get early pick. She goes for a decloak. Here comes the hack, getting the hack on the Foxtail right now, but no one will be able to follow it up. Just a big hack, but no value out of it. And here she goes Translocate right out.
Doing what they can at the moment. Going in, Audium is going to be able to drop that Storm Arrow, get Mudman looking pretty solid at the moment. They need to take out this tank though, but they managed to get out the little tank Melody, as that is just going to deny a lot more armor usage for Despacito. And they're going to be able to fall back right here, right now, and hold that very strongly. Pharmacy coming in very strong.
In terms of the 2 compositions that we're having, both of them running the Reinhardt composition, but I would say Sir KJB right now in a much better position compared to Despacito, just because the attackers have to keep up their shields for a longer period of time just to try and get the attack, whereas Sir KJB can just leave it down and just stay on the point to just prevent it. Here comes the Earthshatter, managing to get through both the tanks. Both the tanks managing to get hit by that, Melody managed to take out the Wookiee, does come back with a counter kill onto Emmett. Here comes a 5v5. Here comes a huge nano boosted Earthshatter right now, and Despacito just raining down death on the side of Pride. And yep, that should be able to secure it with just 1 ultimate of the nano boost.
So close to death too. That's Despacito, no pun intended, was close to death. Just a thread of life hanging on there. But honestly, just such good patience after just sort of falling back after that Earth Shatter and not losing to pressuring. Plus it was close to attack spawn, so they were able to respawn early. Oh, but here's the Dragon Strike. That's going to help out a lot.
Yeah, Dragon Strike coming out, but it seems that FS Scott was accidentally nano boosted Mercy. Must be generally an accident. Salt and Vinegar goes tries to go for a Hail Mary play, most likely trying to just use that so she can switch off, to another hero, I'm presuming. If not, it was a bit of a wasted ultimate, considering they could have just saved it and Emmett can use the Graviton with the Barrage, just a very basic combo. But it seems that Salt and Vinegar will continue to run the Pharah. Must be just a bit of a miscommunication on their side. currently the Hanzo currently out of position a bit. He might be able to get taken down if the Solid Vinegar manages to get hit. Snope manages to get out. And Circuit GP holding very far back, just letting the cart roll through under to pass the, I would say, the second part of stage 2 right now, and Circuit GB will now engage in the fight. Fiery managed to get the early kill on Salt Vinegar, and here comes the Graviton, not getting 2 people, but not getting anything. And Wookie on the side goes for the flank play. Goes for the flank play, and Audium gets it. Here comes the counter Earthshatter, and here comes the Dragon. No! He just misses it on the side. The cart actually managed to push some of the members of Pride onto the side where the Dragon just did not hit. Very unfortunate. Very unfortunate to actually see that happen. The cart actually stopping you from getting the team wipe, and with a very fast time, Despacito and his team managed to cap the point with over 4 minutes.
Well, a lot of that has to do with their very passive plays coming right now from Omnic. While they do have a level of aggression, they also know when to fall back and not just sort of stray away from the rest of the group. The fact that they are able to know to fall back and not drop ults right away is sort of a good thing. We do see a little bit of panic ults coming in here and there from the Earthshatter into also the Barrage as well, so we gotta be careful about that. However, they have dropped quite a few ults recently, so they may be able to finally stop here. We do have Earthshatter and Barrage waiting and ready to boot, so we'll see if that finds them in a tricky mess.
Here comes a hack on the Despacito, comes and follow up with the Earthshatter. Manages to get 4 or 5 people, but unfortunately no follow-up. Circuit JB answers back with a kill onto Wookie. Yep, manages to get the counter kill onto Wookie, and right now it's just another brawl. Right now it's a 5v6. Circuit JB a bit of a trouble. Here comes the bubble just to help it, and Despacito manages to get hacked again, gets charged by Circuit JB, and the side of Omnic Esports might be backing out right now. Yep, they should be backing out and resetting due to the fact that they do not have the main tank shield up to protect them from the incoming damage.
Yep, a lot of sort of support ults dropped right away, interestingly enough, or a lot of protection. The Coalescence may have not been necessary, but it did allow them to push them back. They did drop the Earthshatter, not get a lot of benefits from, so I guess that was a little bit of a concern there. But they're going to do the best they can right now. They got to be careful, though. Despacito and the rest of the game are really close to their ult, so if they space this out correctly and get a good tempo with their ult economy, this is going to be a very quick wrap-up from Omnic. They just got to eat through this ult fight right now.
Here comes the Farah Barrage with the Graviton. Only managed to get one just because the pedestals are actually moving around. It may have actually tried to kill it, but regardless, they managed to clean up. And Pride will continue to hold the point after what was a very disastrous, basically, I wouldn't even call that a fight, onto second point, and managed to burn off about 2 minutes and 15 seconds off the clock.
Yeah, there's a good amount of time that was taken out. Not much left. 2 minutes does allow for a couple of ult pushes and maybe one big dry push and one big ult push, depending on how your ult economy is doing right now. But let's see how this goes. Oh no! That is bad. That is going to be the Earthshatter and also the EMP coming into play. That is just bread and butter put together.
Very true. Just using 2 ultimates to win that point, and Fox and FS Scott both have the support ultimates up, so they can keep the team alive for a extended period of time. But on the side of Omnic Esports, you can see that they have just basically 6 ultimates stacked up. Melody can get the ultimate fairly quickly, and ooh, here comes a flashbang onto Audium and subsequent kill. It's 5v6 with the side of Omnic having basically 6 ultimates up right now. Let's see how many they will have to expend to at least get this card moving. Here comes the Graviton with the high noon with the nano boost, and they basically, never mind, they actually just expended all 5 ultimates in one go in a fight they basically won. I believe they had a bit of a miscommunication there. They didn't have to burn that many. Bit of an overkill, and you can see Foxy is just going to try and stall the point right now. But with the Kamehameha, let's see if he gets anything out of this. No, just basically zoning people off. No, he actually managed to get Fruit Tingle. Here comes a counter Earthshatter on the side of Despacito, but without any follow-up, it's not going to be very effective as Sir KGB manages to get the heals and subsequent kill. And this should be a reset quick reset coming out up on the esports as they try to make the final push.
Omnic Esports, if they even have enough time for a full-on push, Wookie with that stagger kill is gonna lose a lot of time. They need to touch this point right now. Honestly, the fact that they managed to just build those ults right up, and that's gonna be used Earthshatter to follow up things. What are they going to do? I don't know. There's a grab to just wrap things up and taunt them in front of this just payload.
Wookie switching off the McCree, going to the Tracer, just trying to touch the cart basically. Is he gonna get anything? Does get hacked, should be killed off fairly easily right now. Yep, and
that's
Pride. And Pride off with a tremendous 4-minute hold onto third point, manages to stop Omnic Esports just before capping third point.
Did the best they could, and unfortunately, like you said and mentioned earlier, they did drop a lot of ults last time. They dropped about 4 or 5 ults with the Earthshatter remaining, and then after that, another thing that you mentioned as well was that the Earthshatter did not allow a lot of people to follow up because a lot of their team was wiped out without able to be in response. The EMPs were so crucial. That's one of the reasons why we're seeing Sombra picked out so often nowadays, is that flanking DPS with the long time invisibility has really just shaped up the game right now, and Sombra's just becoming one of those heroes where it's a must pick if you want to go for that aggression or just be able to counter aggression as well, with just the fact that it is able to easily flank, drop EMP, and nullify those abilities. It doesn't make it a lot easier to be able to counter ults or have little to no ults in your bank. So that's why we encourage you to be careful when you drop ults, because you want to drop maybe 2 or 3 ults, charge the next ones, drop the next ones, and start having a rhythm with your ult economy. Because if you don't, and you just spend it all in one place, you're not going to really be able to complete much in the way of maps unless you have some really just star-like abilities to just sort of handle with your own, which we saw very close to people being able to hold all by themselves. But in the end, it's really just very crucial to have that.
Very, very true. And now we're going into the subsequent next attack. We can see that the side of Omnic Esports continuing to run a deathball composition with Wookie on that McCree, might be his most favorite hero, and Fiery continuing to play that Pharah. On the side of Pride, they are going to copy with the Sombra of Odium. Odium will continue to play the Sombra, and Salted Vinegar continues to play the Pharah Mercy. Pharah Mercy combo, and right now it's just a poke phase. They're just trying to see is there any openings Odium can potentially exploit on the side of it. And here comes a Boops. Despacito currently on the ground, and the rest of the team just have to drop to try and support him. Mudman currently all alone. Odium trying to get the kill onto him. Is he going to be able to do it? He is getting low, but Wookie's also one hit right now. Wookie is actually close to near life, but manages to get healed. But nope, Salted Vinegar manages to get the kill onto it, and off a very, very good boop coming out of Salted Vinegar to start the fight. They should be able to push this card close to capping first point just before Despacito will be able to come back. And no, Foxy manages to get the kill on the Fruit Tingle. Very, very crucial kill right now that could secure them this first point in a very quick fashion.
Yeah, they're doing what they can right now to just wrap this up. They're dropped the Coalescence and see if they can get Fiery, because they want to make sure that that sort of damage that they've been producing is going to just finally go away. And they managed to do that, getting the double kill as well, and that's really just going to solidify that point for them. They are going to see if they can control big Earls and get, like, I don't know, some try or maybe knock out some of the heroes, so where they just sort of stagger the kills a little bit. But in the end, it's not going to be worth it. You're just sort of feeding ult to your group, and I just can't believe Fruit just did that. But that's fine. If you wanted to do that and find out the Sombra's been flanking, you go ahead and do that, because you have friends to back you up, Mercy. You're a strong, independent person just like anybody else.
Very, very true. You could think that Odium would have been able to kill Fruit Tingle and just stagger the side of Omnic Esports a lot more, but it seems that Fruit Tingle putting on his best battle Mercy and manages to actually get the counter kill. And now moving into the second part of Streets phase, similar to their attack, they are letting this card push very, very deep before they will engage to try and stop it right now. And here comes the Valkyrie out of Omnic Esports. Let's see if it's gonna get anything damage boosting 3-4 people. Here comes a Graviton. But only gets Emmet. Oh! Salted Vinegar manages to get the kill on the Fiery just before the Barrage does any form of huge damage. Wookie gets the Deadeye kill onto Emmet, but FS Scott will be there for the res. And right now on the side of Pride, they will start backing up. Sir KGB makes his way back to the team. They're just gonna wait for it and then most likely push in again.
Do what they can with the abilities that they have, and they have a lot of alt abilities up their sleeve at the moment. The audience wants to get around this saloon to see what they can find, but oh my gosh! That is a lot of alts just dropped. They are going to be able to have a coalescence come on through. It gets stunned for the most part, and they don't get a lot through it, but that EMP is going to be pretty much everything. Audium, once again, the Somber coming in tried and true, like my friend says. Mudman will be able to get them, but the res will come in, and that will just pretty much secure the point right there for them. They have to go through a couple of more people, but that does allow them to just go ahead and wrap this up. And they have quite a lot of time in the time bank. It now comes down to if they can make it through this alleyway with all these trucks going on. Can they truck on through, my friend?
Pride very much capping in the similar time as to what the side of Omnic Esports also capped it on the third point. Now it's whether or not they are going to be able to push onto this third point that will seal the deal of whether or not they will make this a 2-0 or whether or not they make this a 2-0 or we will go to a 1-1. Right now the fight moving in right now, and on the side of Omnic Esports, they have Fiery switch off onto the Junkrat. Here comes a huge Graviton, and here's all the Vinegar goes for the Mirage. There's a 3-4. That's
my god.
There's a 3K on the side of Pride. Here comes an Earth Shadow, stopping anyone else. Both supports are dead on the ground. That was an easy team wipe, and very much Omnic Esports, like Pride will manage to cap it in a very fast fashion with just three ultimates to secure the victory.
3 ults to secure the victory indeed. Well, that was just good target prioritization and alt execution right there. Something that Omnic had a little bit of trouble with. On top of that, Audience on that Somber is just such a huge DPS player to just character to play on. I cannot emphasize it enough. That is just so huge of a just character to have, just the EMP and just nullifying effects. At that last push, they did not do that. There was just basically a grab, flanking with the barrage. It was very solid, and then they'd be able to hold on to it. And there's the alt economy thing as well that we talked about, which was very important. Being able to build up those alt charges, have that ready in your belt at any given time, 2 or 3 alts, and just sort of rotate in. There was no real rotation coming in from Omnix. It was kind of build up a bunch of alts and then drop it right away, which kind of makes it very difficult for you to be able to do that. But they did have a lot of great plays as well. But Pride at the moment just be able to use their alt economy more efficiently, and that just is sometimes the way it is. But I think Omnic has a lot of potential, and I see the growth in them very, very frequently.
Moving in, now we are moving on to Hanamura. Omnic Esports, if they want to keep their dreams in this match alive, the reverse sweep has to start now. If not, if the next map goes into the favor of Pride, Pride will win this match up 3-0. Now we're just going to wait to see if any subs come in, but let's talk about Hanamura generally. Hanamura, 2 CP or in general very hard, just because most people would say you either get snowballed really hard or you just hold continuously. That's why Hanamura also aptly named Drawnamura a number of times. So I would say it is a very, very wavy sort of map that any team can potentially just snowball the other and potentially just get a very huge lead in the time bank. But coming back to that, let's go talk about team compositions. Goat's composition, especially on the first point here, very, very strong. You can run multiple variants of it, including one with Symmetra. We just teleport onto the point. Teams have been running that. And on defense-wise, against this sort of Goat's composition, many teams don't really have an answer just because of how fast they move and how sturdy they are once they get onto the point. So hopefully we will see some very weird team comps that might be able to stop the Goats comp from just rolling over the first point. Moving on to the second point, you can't really run the Goats composition just because of the high ground that surrounds the actual point itself. So most likely you would switch off to either a dive based comp, or you continue to run a composition that will allow you to just secure the 2 high grounds and then move on to the point itself to try and capture it.
All these are good observations. I would also just say that if they wanted to respond to the Goats, a Junkrat would be a very good idea. as the just sort of lobbing grenades and having to go through that initial choke does help out a lot. I have seen a bit of a flower formation with the Junkrat, coming from Die with Winston Diva. That helps a lot. I have seen that a little bit more in NA than I don't know how it goes in the Oceania, but that just tends to be a thing that I happen to see. Point A is very notorious as being very hard to hold. It's not as notorious as Anubis, where Anubis point A is kind of like a forego kind of thing. You just sort of take out as much of the time bank as you can and hold B as long as possible. Whereas Hanamura in point A, it's a little more viable. There's a lot of different tactics to go about it. If you take advantage of the high ground with the Hanzo, go for the Death Ball with Zarya Hanzo. It's very good with the potentially also the Mei we have seen as well to be able to solo out. That's one way to cancel goats, because that does take out the Reinhardt right away and solos out them and zones them out. And I think in the long run, we just have to wait and see if any of these competitions will run GOAT. The Symmetra, though, would be very fun to see. And my last fact about Hanamura, it has my favorite pun joke, which is what is a cow's favorite map?
What?
Hanamura!
Okay, thank you very much, Benny. I think we'll just end the stream here. Thank you very much. I will be going offline now, but yeah, let's go back to talking about just general things while the two teams set up their players coming in. Going back to the, let's just go back to the cup in general. What do you think about?
Sure.
What do you think about the top four? Is it already determine who they're going to play?
I do not know, because unfortunately my internet went out midway through the World Cup. But I think looking at the top four from my app that I have that keeps track of stuff, then I would say probably that one guy from that one team will be probably effective. So that way we don't spoil, just to not spoil anything for Zero, our producer. Shout out to Zero, doing a great job, by the way. That one guy from that one team, I think the way that he used that one alt with the ability to cancel out the other alt was going to be very effective with that one guy on that one map. So that way we can make sure that one map cancels out the other team and the team kills kept going and going. So I think that one guy from the one team, as long as he works with this guy, he's going to be pretty much fine. But I got to be careful, because the coach of that guy is going to be very crucial into giving some prioritized words to make sure that the prioritization of the targets are going to work for that guy. So if the guy is able to work with that, it's going to be very effective on this map. What is going to be map? Maybe it's XYZ map. Potentially. If it's on map Z or map Z, depending on what region you're from, it's going to be very effective with that guy. But I'm very cautious about that guy, because if they go up against that guy, it's going to be very weird. You know?
Yeah, okay. I think just coming back to what you said about canceling ultimates and what we've seen coming out of the World Cup, if you generally want to counter the meta per se of Sombra, Doomfist, stuff like that, you can see that a number of Overwatch World Cup players and teams have generally looked towards running more McCree or more stun-based characters and trying to react just as fast as the ultimates or the abilities come in. A number of times, if you see that Sombra would try and go with EMP, the Zen understands that the EMP is already coming in, would already have his finger close to the Q button of the ultimate and just subsequently press the Q as the Sombra comes out of the translocator and just try to save your team with the actual Transcendence. If not, there's always the McCree or any stun characters that stay next to the Zen, just because Zen is the primary target of a hack or an EMP, to just try and stun the Sombra out of the EMP and potentially waste the ultimate and get the kill. So a bit of genuinely high level sort of reaction needed to at least try and pull this off. But for the most part, not impossible as we saw in the World Cup. If not, there's also another method of just chain healing the Zen. Once the EMP comes out, Mercy and the rest of the team might prioritize just keeping the Zen alive, as you can more or less just watch in one of the World Cup matches. And it just helps to just keep the Zen alive instead of just leaving him to die and potentially just getting snowballed out of the point itself. But coming back to that, I think for the most part, who do you think might win this year? Do you think South Korea still has the best chance?
No.
No,
I think China is. Just from the standpoint of just their performance, and I think I don't know which player's name it is. Let me check the roster real quick as we are able to do that. Looking at it, they did a very nice job against Team X.
I would say that
Shy. There we go.
Yep.
Shy from LGD.
Yep. I would say that the China World Cup team, the synergy that you saw with the main and the off tanks, just tremendous. I would say that is like Overwatch League level of synergy that they managed to pull off together. And just even their single sort of solo plays already showed that they are extremely good and deserve a spot in an Overwatch League team. And hopefully that they will be offered one of the 3 spots, I believe, that are currently in China. The only real issue that I have with the Overwatch League is generally maybe they want to introduce a soft form of region locking as they simply did to contenders. Because right now, if many teams just want to win, more teams will just pick up a lot of the Korean players rather than look at NA, UK, Oceania, stuff like that. Okay. I mean, we only have 2 people from the Oceania region being played in the Overwatch League, which is Custer, and subsequently coming in we have Color X.
Right. We'll sort of avoid that sort of region superiority thing as a subject and just jump right into Hanamura, shall we? As this is a little less sensitive of a subject right here, as we're looking at goats. This was not a surprise for either of us, wasn't it?
No, this is just basic sort of attack strategy. Run the goats. If it doesn't work, switch off to something else. It's not gonna take too much time just because goats is such a fast. It's basically death ball. It's just death ball dive, I would call it.
Death ball dive. That's definitely an adjective that you could potentially use. As we've seen here, though, I'm not surprised also by the Mei, as this is going to be very solid. We just have to see how Salt and Vinegar use the high ground mainly as a 76, or are they going to try to hold it a chokehold? We'll see how this goes. Depends on if they can sort of solo out the Reinhardt and be very effective about it. Gotta be careful. They're about to rush in right now, so let's see how that works.
Let's see if Omnic Esports is going to get baited in, and Foxy's going to put up that wall. Here comes Trump's America, and no, 5 people managed to get in, and the only one blocked off is Melody, but Despacito subsequently popped off and killed both tanks on the side of Pride in a very quick fashion. They thought the tables were turned onto them, but it seems that the hunter has become the hunted. And the Ghost composition apparently still seems to work against the Mei wall strategy, as they cap it with a tremendous time of just over 3 minutes.
Yeah, well now they have 7 minutes to go through, and this is going to be a one to sort of sit through, so buckle up and enjoy the show, ladies and folks, as they are just going to be going through this a lot of this time. It's going to be depending on whether the Ghost can pull through very, very quickly, or are they going to be able to get the stun here. It is a matter. It is close quarter and fighting right now. Oh, the Earth Shatter! That is going to stop it right there, and also the Reaper's Salt and Vinegar switching on that. Very smart of them.
Yeah, interesting enough, you can see that Foxy's actually playing the Pharah instead of Salt and Vinegar running the Reaper. A soft counter to the Ghost composition, not very hard, but it seems that Omnic Esports continues to want to try and stick into this fight as Fiery manages Foxy while he was trying to use the Barrage. Here comes a charge as Sir KJP gets Nano Booster and manages to kill Despacito. Sir KJP also gets the kill onto Melody, Salt and Vinegar gets the kill onto Fiery, and very great, and with just the Nano Boost, they will manage to hold the second point of Hanamura. But as you can see, coming into the next fight, on the side of Omni Esports, they generally won't want to switch off the actual Ghost composition just because they have 4 ultimates up. Whereas on the side of Pride, they only have, I would say, 2 ultimates in Sir KJB's Earth Shadow managed to at least get that back extremely quickly, and Emmett, who is about an 88% towards the Graviton, so not too far away.
Yeah, they're not too far away from that, but they need to be careful as to see how they go for. There's an Earth Shatter, once again, so huge! Before I can even make notes about it, but there is a retaliation coming in at the moment, and they do manage to get the pin onto it. How are they going to be able to do this? They might be able to get the first take, but it is going to be a little bit uphill battle if they want to go ahead and take this point altogether. Ooh, Emmett is very smart as they are able to just use that coalescence to charge themselves even more.
Emmett went for the graviton, but I believe he was eaten by the Diva defense matrix, but it doesn't seem to matter as Sir KJB gets a kill on the Melody, Foxy gets a kill on the Mudman that was out of the mech, and with help of the Ferret, this should be just easy cleanup, and without even a single point taken onto the side of Omni Esports. But as I say that, they are fighting back right now. It's just whether or not they are able to continuously kill the enemy team without losing members themselves, just because the spawn advantage is on the side of the defense right now. If they don't manage to at least hold this on, this is a lot of time going to be burned off the clock in favor on the side of Pride. But as I say that, it's still very much into the favor of Omni Esports. They are actually holding on to the point, and the kill feed, as you saw previously, was just all red. It's not whether or not they are going to pop up, but no, Sir KJB goes huge with a 5-man Earth Shatter, and the rest of the team was there to give up the follow-up, and they managed to burn 2 minutes off the clock of that really great defense.
Yeah, a lot of perseverance also coming in, and now that stagger kill is just going to make things a little more awkward. And still sticking with the goats just because they have a couple of ults. I think at this point you just go ahead and switch on over to the dive. They haven't left hero spawn yet, so maybe they are. But it looks like they're just waiting for the regroup as opposed to switching up heroes. The rally may come into play to help them out a lot, but at this moment, even though it's 3 minutes and 43 seconds, which seems like a lot of time in theory, you gotta remember it started from 7 minutes, and now they are gonna probably run into a little bit of an awkward situation if they want to try switching heroes last minute as well. And the dive can build up ults quickly as well, so you never know.
They did switch off. Foxy managed to use the barrage, gets a kill on Despacito. This fight is over just before it began. Without your main tank, you are basically dead in the water. Fiery in trouble right now, just gonna get taken out. It's basically free ult charge onto the side of Pride as they continue to hold this point with them burning 4 minutes basically off the clock right now.
Yeah, and well, yes, you did mention that they did switch off, not noticing Wookiee going in the McCree. That is a very subtle change that doesn't make too much of a huge difference. It maybe addresses the Reaper, Death Blossom happens, but also Pharah's probably the huge one that they're focusing on. But Foxley, you know, countered by the Diva. I don't know. I still feel like there should be a switch into the dive as opposed to just going for the 3-2-1, but that's just me. At the moment, they're just going to persevere through. We'll see how this goes. That is going to be a good grab, but no follow-up.
It seems that when the graviton was thrown on, Despacito decided to ignore the grab and instead push through. Here comes his Earth Shadow, but the rest of his team are dead. That was a bit of a wasted Earth Shadow. Hopefully he does switch off onto the dive now. If not, that was very much another wasted ultimate that will prove fatal to the team. Considering that, if you can see on the side of Pride, Sir KGB does have his ultimate, and he has shown that he can make those big plays, getting 3-4 people onto the ground. And right now, it seems that they are just taking their time. They actually might be just talking to themselves of what heroes switch off right now. They're just taking a huge amount of time off the clock, just figuring out what composition to actually play before even coming out the spawn.
Well, better late than never. I'd rather they do this 30 with a minute and 30 left as opposed to just 30 left. That's usually the way we usually see it.
We have a pause. We have a pause.
Technical pauses are only the real thing.
Yeah, perhaps
pauses aren't a thing. This isn't CS:GO.
Perhaps. Yeah, perhaps. Yep. One of the players generally having some technical issues with the internet. Jerry, I also had it previously. Might be something to do with the World Cup. Might not. Maybe Vodafone, Telstra, Optus, all having some maintenance issues. If not, well, who knows at that point. But coming into the next fight, you can see that Sir KGB and Salt and Vinegar have their ultimates up. Foxy also close with 93%. And on the side of on the esports, they basically have nothing. This is going to be basically a dry push into a potential to build as much percentage ultimate as they can, and then go on to the final push, which hopefully their ultimates will be about 70-80%, so that they can start the engagement, get it to 100, and hopefully just spin it all onto the point in a ditch effort to try and at least get one tick, or at least subsequently cap the point. But it is very much it's very much a climb to the top of the hill right now, as the side of Pride just has the ultimate advantage. It just comes down to whether or not they are able to bait it out. That is going to be the main question coming into this last 1 minute and 25 seconds.
Last 1 minute and 25 seconds. We'll see how this goes. Not even Deathball double DPS sniper, as that's going to come into it. It's, well, technically, while Deathball, the Diva's going to be interesting. It's a little more aggressive of Deathball than I normally would like, but we'll see how this goes. They're just going to go right lane again on attack spawn side. We'll see how that works, as there is already an Earthshatter waiting for them in the wing and a Death Blossom.
Oh, here comes the here comes a huge from the here comes a top rope WWE style Earthshatter coming out, Sir KJB.
From downtown.
Just unfortunate that the team was not there to follow it up. Foxley actually a single barrage Wookiee that was on the Widowmaker, and Fiery manages to get the kill on the Emmett. It's a bit of an even trade right now, as and no Fiery manages to get the kill on Foxley right now. But without the main tank, being able to push to the point, this is still a very dire. This is still a very dire situation on the side of Omni Esports. And as you can see, Despacito gets taken out. Foxley, FS Scott going huge, gets 3 kills with the Transcend, with the Kamehameha Coalescence, and this is basically done and dusted. Pride should be able to hold this point without even a single tick cap on the side of Omni Esports after what was a tremendous 7-minute push.
That is 7 minutes gone right before your very eyes, and a huge Earthshatter along with it. Death Blossom wasn't even dropped. I was expecting them to do that, but they didn't even fire with that, and that was a little bit scary from Fiery. They did a very good job in the Hanzo, but in the long run, that was not the hero switch that they needed, nor in the right amount of time. After that one push with the amount of ults that they had on Goats, they should have switched out right now. I've seen it time and after again, no matter what tier of Overwatch you're watching, I have seen it as just a perseverance that pure aggro will be able to win out the fight. It's not necessarily that you need to win. Aggro is just one key component. Ult execution and target prioritization is what make aggro work. You just can't run in with a bunch of health and damage and pray that you hit the right thing and everybody goes down. You need to be able to do it in an effective way, and Dive does also help with that. Dive double flanking DPS was what I was hoping for, at least one flanking DPS with a sniper DPS. The Hanzo was a good choice. I think honestly, just the hero compositions or the hero pool was just not as strong as it needed to be, and that's one of the reasons why I lost it. But we'll see how they work out with defense. Maybe they got something good up their sleeve, and I hope to see something super strong, because I would like to see the reverse recap, or at very least go to map 5, because map 5s are exciting.
Very, very true. I think coming back to that idea of them having to switch off, I think that is something that teams, from here on out, or any team should actually try and practice that. It's just whether or not you're going to get as much value as you can out of your ultimates. A defensive Reinhardt, especially on Hanamura, has a much higher percentage chance of getting an Earthshatter off than an attacking one if you input to get back to the point, stuff like that. But enough about that. Let's get on to the next match. We are going to see a
Symmetra.
Very interesting. Symmetra. Foxy on the Symmetra. Here comes the teleporter right now. Are they going to be able to stop it? Nope. They are on the point. Here comes the teleport in. Here comes a charge coming in, and Despacito manages to get the early kill onto FS Scott. 6v5, but Sir KJB goes with the counter charge, gets the kill onto Despacito. Currently, right now, Omni Esports down their main tank. They are in a bit of a dire situation, as without the main tank, they don't have the shield needed to at least try and stall the point. And Sir KJB actually gets the kill onto Fruit Tingle. This should be an easy cap coming out onto the side of Pride, and in a similar fashion, they are going to get also 7 minutes on the clock to push and cap at least 1/3 on the point of point 2.
Yep, I totally forgot about that little tidbit of factors that they have to take one tick. That's all. and this is going to be very interesting if they are able to do so.
Oh, Symmetra
Honestly,
flank coming out.
yeah, we'll see if this works out for Pride. They do manage to also have the wall, which does allow them to basically block a lot of the damage as well. They might drop it right away as soon as they can, and there it is! Oh my gosh, Earthshatter's canceled as well!
Here comes the Earthshatter. Sir KJB, the basic MVP of this fight, gets a huge 3-4k Earthshatter, gets the charge onto the enemy Reinhardt. No one left on the point because they're all dead, and Pride will take the series 3-0.
Well, I was certainly caught off guard by the Symmetra, and I'm sure they were too. But honestly, in the long run, that was very strong. That was pretty much Goats with a Symmetra, and I think in the long run,
Here's
they
the
managed to work
winning
very, very well.
Here's the winning Earthshatter on the side of Sir KJB. Goes for the charge, gets the kill.
Very, very great play coming out of him. As you can see, 8 Shadow kills, 20 Earthshatter stuns. That's a huge amount if you are Reinhardt main to see. And basically, Omnic Esports just very much outclassed in terms of skill and even their team compositions. They just really weren't aware of the power of Symmetra just to use the flank on the right side there. But that's really about it. Hopefully they will lick their wounds and come back stronger next week. But that's really about it for this match. I would say MVP goes to Sir KJB. His Reinhardt play, his main tank play, overall very, very strong. As you saw on the Hanamura map, he basically won, I think, 5, 6, 7 matches. 5, 6, 7 pushes just by himself with his Earthshatter and with his charges, managing to at least get the key targets out of the way. Whether or not the charge was all luck or all skill, that remains to be seen.
I would actually give it to F. Scott because a lot of the times they managed to stay alive and the coalescence were perfectly angled. That was absolutely spot on by them, and Foxy did a great job as well with their maze soloing out the ice walls. They were very solid stuff, and totally disregarding Hanamura. And I think it also, honestly, just in the long run, I think Omnic is not outskilled. I think their synergy just needs a little more work, and their individual talent is spot on. But the thing is that the individual talent does not mesh well together at the moment. And I think give it a little more time, they're going to be just a-okay.
Yep, I think that's a fair assumption. Perhaps my wording was a bit off. I think I was trying to go for more of what you said. But that's it for this match between Omnic Esports and Pride. Thank you very much for watching us. We will be back shortly at 8:30 for the next match.